Most people believe wealth is a game of numbers. They think if they just find the right stock, the right entry point, or the right expert to follow, everything will eventually work out. So, they spend their days watching charts, refreshing financial news, and reacting emotionally to every market move. Ironically, the more information they consume, the more anxious they become. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If wealth was simply a matter of intelligence, most people would already be rich. Access to information has never been easier, yet peace of mind around money has never been rarer. The problem isn't a lack of data, it's a lack of clarity. Wealth is not primarily a financial problem, it's a psychological one. The ancient Stoics understood this long before stock markets, inflation reports, or central banks existed. They knew that the external world would always be unstable, unpredictable, and often hostile. But they also knew something more important. The internal world can be trained, disciplined, and fortified. In a world of constant noise, distraction, and emotional manipulation, the greatest asset you can own is not in your bank account. It's your ability to think clearly when others can't. Today, we're not just looking at inspirational quotes. We're building a complete mental framework, 7 Stoic principles combined into one coherent system for financial and psychological independence. This is not about getting rich quickly. It's about becoming unshakable. Welcome to Stoic Wealth Lab. Everything begins with one simple but brutal question. Is this in my control? Marcus Aurelius, despite ruling the most powerful empire on earth, believed his true power was internal. He understood that wars, plagues, and political chaos were inevitable. What mattered was not stopping them, but responding to them correctly. In the world of money, this distinction is everything. You do not control inflation. You do not control interest rates, market cycles, or global crises. You never have, and you never will. Most people waste enormous amounts of mental energy fighting these realities. They complain, panic, and emotionally react to forces that were never theirs to command. The Stoic approach is different. You focus obsessively on what is within your control: your spending behavior, your savings rate, your risk exposure, your time horizon, and your emotional responses. When markets fall, the Stoic doesn't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" He asks, "What is the intelligent response?" This shift changes everything. The moment you stop wasting energy on the uncontrollable, your mind becomes calmer. And calm is not weakness. Calm is clarity. Clarity is the foundation of every long-term financial decision. A fortress is only as strong as its gates. Epictetus taught that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. In modern finance, this insight is more relevant than ever. Today's financial world is built on noise. Every headline is designed to provoke fear or greed. Every influencer claims certainty in an uncertain world. Predictions are confident, precise, and usually wrong. Most people confuse constant information with actual understanding. A market crash is a fact. Panic is optional. When you learn to separate objective reality from emotional interpretation, you gain distance. That distance allows you to observe instead of react. And observation, not reaction, is where intelligent decisions are made. The Stoic investor understands that volatility is not an enemy. It is a feature of the system. Markets move up and down because human emotions move up and down. When others are emotionally compromised, calm becomes a competitive advantage. Opportunity doesn't disappear during chaos. It transfers to those who are prepared and calm enough to see it. Seneca warned that while people are careful with their money, they are shockingly careless with their time. This observation remains painfully accurate. Time is the only asset you can never earn back. You can recover money, rebuild portfolios, and restart careers. You cannot rewind years. At Stoic Wealth Lab, we measure wealth differently, not by net worth alone, but by freedom. Specifically, how many days you can live without selling your time to someone else. Every unnecessary expense quietly pushes that freedom further away. When you spend money impulsively, you are not just spending currency, you are trading future autonomy for momentary comfort. Seen this way, many purchases lose their appeal. They are no longer rewards, but liabilities. Patience is often misunderstood as passivity. In reality, patience is disciplined restraint. Compound interest rewards those who delay gratification, while others chase immediacy. Over decades, small, consistent decisions outperform dramatic moves driven by emotion. Time favors those who respect it. Every financial decision has a cost beyond the price tag. Economists call this opportunity cost, but most people ignore it. When you buy one thing, you're choosing not to buy something else. When you spend today, you're choosing to delay tomorrow. The Stoics instinctively understood this. They constantly asked what a choice was costing them in peace, freedom, and flexibility. When you apply this thinking to money, your decision-making sharpens. That expensive upgrade isn't just expensive. It may represent months of additional work. That luxury purchase isn't just indulgent. It may delay independence by years. Once you start thinking this way, wealth stops being about accumulation and starts being about allocation. You don't ask, "Can I afford this?" You ask, "Is this worth what it costs my future?" That question alone eliminates most bad decisions. The most dangerous threat to your wealth is rarely the market itself. It's your need for approval. Most people spend money. They don't have to buy things. They don't need to impress people they don't even like. This behavior is so normalized that it rarely gets questioned. Status is a fragile prison. Once your self-worth depends on external validation, your financial decisions stop being rational. You buy not for utility, but for image. You optimize for perception rather than peace of mind. The Stoics rejected this entirely. They understood that true wealth is internal independence. When you stop chasing approval, your expenses shrink naturally, your priorities sharpen, your financial margin grows. True status is not what you display, it's what you can walk away from without fear. Your brain did not evolve for modern financial markets. It evolved for survival in small tribes. This creates predictable biases: fear of loss, fear of missing out, and the tendency to follow the crowd. These biases are not flaws. They are default settings. The danger comes from acting on them unconsciously. The herd often feels safe, but historically, the herd is usually wrong at critical moments. Stoic investors develop self-awareness. They learn to observe their emotional responses before acting. When fear spikes, they pause. When excitement rises, they question it. This emotional insulation is one of the rarest advantages in investing. You don't need to be smarter than others. You need to be calmer. Musonius Rufus warned that luxury weakens both the body and the soul. Modern culture promotes consumption as freedom, but in reality, it often creates dependency. The more you need, the more fragile your life becomes. The Stoic does not reject wealth. He rejects chains. By reducing unnecessary desires, you lower your financial burn rate and increase your resilience. Fewer obligations mean more options. Minimalism is not deprivation, it's defense. When your lifestyle is simple, external shocks lose much of their power over you. You gain flexibility, mobility, and peace of mind. True richness is not found in accumulation, but in independence. Control, perspective, time, opportunity cost, independence, and simplicity are not motivational slogans. They are structural tools. Together, they form the foundation of a mental fortress. But philosophy alone is not enough. Insight must be translated into systems. Budgets, investment frameworks, decision rules, and long-term structures are what turn Stoic wisdom into real-world freedom. This channel exists to build those systems with you, step by step, calmly, rationally. Subscribe to Stoic Wealth Lab, turn on notifications. This lab is just getting started. and your journey toward unshakable wealth begins now.